Hi! It's been a little while. So Dragon's Rising Part 2 just released, and I have so much to say about it, guys. I am slightly obsessed. I've spent a few days sitting with it, organizing all my thoughts, and now I'm ready to just dump them here on the internet. So here goes. Obviously, major spoiler warning for both parts of Dragon's Rising. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it, because it's fantastic. But this is your warning, just in case you don't want to get spoiled. So this video is mainly going to talk about Part 2. I say mainly because I haven't actually talked about Part 1 yet, and there are definitely some things from over there that I want to bring up as well. So I'll touch on them briefly, and then I'll get to talking about all of the new, exciting stuff and all of that. Just consider this to be a review of Dragon's Rising as a whole. Alright, so, in case you haven't gotten the message, I love Dragon's Rising so much. I know I'm not alone when I say that I had pretty low expectations going into it. Coming off the back of Crystallized, I think everyone was apprehensive to see what would come next. And when Dragon's Rising was announced as a whole new concept for Ninjago, people got nervous, myself included. But guys, I was completely proven wrong. It's so good. It's exactly what Ninjago needed. Now, I'm not a Wild Brain era hater by any means. I'm actually a big fan of most of those seasons. But if I have one takeaway from Crystallized, it's that the show was just sort of stretching itself thin. So as risky as major changes are, I think for Ninjago, it was a risk totally worth taking, and it 100% paid off. We've got a whole new world now, and the show has so much room for expansion, and it's so exciting. But at the same time, it still feels like Ninjago. We still have all the same characters and locations that we know and love, but with a whole bunch of new additions. And this is exemplified wonderfully with the Crossroads. So I think, as a setting, the Crossroads is absolutely genius, because it's literally where all the realms collided during the merge. So you've got this mishmash of old and new, which as a viewer feels reflective of Dragon's Rising. Giving all these nostalgic references to previous seasons while also introducing new concepts is such a great way to bring new and old viewers together. Which is also the point of the Crossroads. Everyone's separate realms have crashed together, so they create this new society where they can all coexist, and I just think that's really sweet. This would be a good time to bring up Eren and Sora, because I love them. The minute they walked on screen, they both completely won me over. Eren lives in a post-apocalyptic dystopia, and he bakes pies for people because he feels bad about needing to use their resources. Like, and then the first thing Sora does is she hacks into a bunch of robots to make them dance. Like, I love them. I love them both very much. And they have such a great friendship. Seeing all their interactions makes me so happy. Eren has so much in common with Lloyd, personality-wise, and that kind of worries me. Not from a show quality perspective, but from a please don't let anything bad happen to him perspective. Because Eren's just such a good person. He's friendly, he's caring, he gets along with people, he trusts people. And I'm thinking about Lloyd and what happened when he exhibited those traits. Like, Eren's just such a pure ray of sunshine, and I'm so worried for what his future might hold. But alas, he is a Ninjago protagonist, so pain and suffering is kind of part of the deal. Sorry, Eren. Sora's also amazing, and I'm gonna talk about her later because there's tons I want to say. But for now, let's move on to the thing you're all actually here for, which is Part 2.
Long before time had a name.
Dude, that line gave me chills. I'll say I did have a bit of trouble taking this scene seriously because it reminded me of Skylanders for some reason. Like, I can just picture...
Greetings, young Portal Master. I am Eon. But where are you may ask? This is Skyland.
I don't know, I watched it and that's where my brain went. I liked episode 11. I like how it finally addressed that Lloyd is part dragon, albeit indirectly. Actually, let me highlight this line real quick.
How did you just never mention that you're the grandson of the guy that created Ninjago?
It never came up.
Yeah, Lloyd's a descendant of the first Spinjitzu master, he has Oni and dragon blood, he's a superpowered being, but it doesn't matter, it's not the only thing that defines him, and I liked that. So anyway, Part 2, the pacing was bad. And I'm definitely not the first person to say this. The end of Part 1 was super drawn out, probably could have been a whole episode shorter, and then episode 11 felt pretty rushed, and then 13 and 15 were slow again, it was kind of all over the place. I can pin majority of the blame on Kai and Wildfire. So I won't lie, I felt a little let down by episodes 13 and 15. I'd been excited to see how Kai would handle taking on a mentorship role, and I was expecting more focus on that, but instead we got...
It was a prank! Prank!
I get it, they're showing us Wildfire's personality, but I think they leaned a bit too far into the prank thing. The fact that their fight against Dorama lasted an entire episode was unnecessary enough, but then there was also that weird third party with the lava tides who didn't serve a purpose. Although I do have to say, there was one moment that I thoroughly enjoyed, and that was whatever this was. Since when can he do this? What is this? And Wildfire did have some fun lines.
We will ride on my family. I'll let everyone know what happened to you. Maybe someone will be sad.
So it wasn't all bad, just less than what I was hoping for. But episode 17 completely made up for it. This was what I was waiting for. Kai having this moment of reflection on his past experiences, sharing how he's grown from them, the Seabound closure. This is what I've wanted to see for so long, and Wildfire was the perfect catalyst for it because she really is a mirror to how Kai used to be. She's stubborn, reckless, hot-headed, but then she's also fiercely protective over Heatwave, like how Kai was with Nia. And when Heatwave got injured, the way Kai was able to empathize and help calm her was just wonderful. And then there's this thing he says.
I was never as good as the others, but Ninja never quit.
Guys, did we just see Kai openly admit to not being good at something, and then keep working at it, without getting angry, without yelling at people? Has Kai actually developed as a character? What makes me happy is he's a lot more mellowed out now, but he's also still himself.
You're my only friend here, computer. I made a terrible mistake!
And he shows Wildfire how to manage her frustration, but he never makes her sacrifice her authenticity. She's still an absolute goofball, but her chaotic nature, like Kai's, is no longer a detriment because she knows how to better channel it, and I just thought that was so neat. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of these two. They're awesome.
I forgot there's two of them now.
Mr. Frohickey. Existed, I guess? He felt a bit out of place, I'm not gonna lie. In fact, I genuinely thought he was gonna be a villain. Like, I was convinced he was gonna betray Zane, take over the monastery, sabotage everyone's plans. But turns out, no, he's not a villain, he's just a scarily accurate representation of my ability to function.
I cannot comprehend how this situation came about.
I am not ashamed to admit that the scene entertained me far more than it should have, and I may or may not have been laughing at it like a first grader. Also, the way you think Zane's doing a good job holding everything together, but then it just cuts to him talking to Pixel on that broomstick, and you're like, okay, he's clearly lost it. I found it fun. Zane in the Crossroads was awkward. The impersonation contest felt so random, and it was tough to watch. However, these signs are amazing. I like these. And I liked the message at the end. Zane basically having an identity crisis was very fitting. One minute he's fine, and the next he's questioning everything he's ever known about his existence.
Am I not the Zane I once was?
Which reminds me of his True Potential episode.
No! It can't be!
So full circle moment, I guess. That's actually the thing about Kai and Zane, is that their storylines connected to their storylines. They were both in character. The mini-arcs they were given actually made sense and were beneficial to them. Like, Dragon's Rising took what Season 11 tried to do, and did it infinitely better. Now, writing-wise, I don't think they're on par with Lloyd or Cole or whoever just yet, but this is such a big improvement. And my hopes are very high moving forwards. I want to see where Dragon's Rising takes Kai and Zane, because this is the first time in a long time I've felt optimistic about the trajectories of their characters, and that's very cool to be able to say. So then Lloyd and Aaron saved Rapton from an army of snails. Let's talk about Nia. So she was fine. I liked episode 14. I think it was the only episode out of 11 through 15 that didn't suffer from pacing. Sending Nia back to Ninjago was a morbid premise, and it intrigued me. So I was disappointed when she didn't mention Skybound. I get that she's not going to explain the whole thing to Sora at the drop of a pin, but it's weird how there was basically no reference to it apart from some expositional dialogue. Also, Jay? But it's okay, I can live with it. I guess the thing is, all the ninja had a mini storyline that addressed some piece of trauma from their past, like I've been saying, including Cole and Jay, who I'll talk about in a minute. And Nia's the only one who didn't. I mean, she kind of did. She's in the land of the Jinn, but it's not having a clear effect on her. So she just felt a little underwhelming in comparison to the others. But her writing wasn't bad, it just got overshadowed by all the brilliant writing. Ericor is cool. He reminds me of Okino, which is a compliment. When he started quoting Skybound, oh my gosh, dude. The nostalgia. Just the sheer nostalgia. So yeah, I liked The Last Jinn overall, it was solid. I liked Nia's dynamic with Sora. They have a lot in common, like Kai and Wildfire, and Aaron and Lloyd, and that's another point. So quick side tangent, when a show gets this kind of next-gen-ish reboot, it's easy to just make all the new characters mirror the old ones, and then as a viewer it can feel inauthentic to watch because it feels like a copy more so than an addition. And this was my biggest fear going into Dragon's Rising. Would it remain true to the original show? And yes, it did. It 100% did. The new cast are all very adjacent to the old one, but it works. Interacting with essentially younger versions of themselves gives the ninja and us as viewers a chance to look at how far the show has come. There was never a point where it felt copied. Unlike Season 11, the similarities that did exist between previous arcs was done to readdress and reflect on things rather than recycle them, if you get what I'm saying. I just wanted to put that out there. My point is, the writing is good. I just wish the Dragon Core hunting scenes were spaced out a little better. Cole! Cole is back! His reintroduction was epic. You're telling me he disappears for a season and comes back with a ragtag group of heroes, fire-esque spinjitzu, elemental stone golem powers, the ability to withstand this, and ascend into the sky in a blaze of fire. He is my favorite character. Look at him fighting the Hoarder. He's so cool. I love that he's so in tune with his element. That was something Master of the Mountain did well, was theming everything around the earth, plot-wise and also aesthetically, and that felt similar here. And it was used as what I'm assuming is foreshadowing for some later plotline.
Remember how I told you I could hear the ground screaming? Like something was terribly wrong?
Can I just say, Cole is the team leader? I've mentioned this before, actually, a few times, and now look at him. Look at him taking charge of this battle.
Go after Leroux! Get everyone out of the rookery to safety! Power me up!
The first thing he did upon getting stranded in an unfamiliar land was assemble a crew, just like the Elemental Alliance, just like the Upply. He's obviously a natural leader, lean into it, just let him lead the team. Anyway, it's painfully fitting that he ended up in the land of lost things. Like, just think about it. He grew up ignored and neglected by Lou. He turned into a ghost. He was forgotten as a ghost. And where is he now? The place where forgotten things go. Again, what Dragon's Rising is excelling at is addressing past traumas, like Kai and like Zane. The fact that all three of them have moments that I can directly tie to their true potentials is not a coincidence. I don't think. If it is, then it's an awfully big one. Speaking of true potential, using Cole as foreshadowing for Sora was wonderful. Sora thinks she can only use her powers with Ryu's help, and Cole thinks the same thing about his golem form in Geo. So when she meets them, Sora learns and has reassurance that she's not alone. But then Cole learns that Geo never actually powered him and he'd been using his own abilities all along, and by extension, you can infer the same thing about Sora. It's the same with their backstories. Cole and Sora and Geo have all faced unfair rejection at some point in their lives, and it's affected their confidence.
Sounds like living in Imperium really broke you.
Yeah.
But Cole pushes through that, and later on, so does Sora. Geo was a genius addition to the cast. He tied everything together. So there's Nia, who has a history of doubting herself, like Sora, who she's trying to train, but Sora's self-esteem has been dampened by her family, just like Geo, who feels lost and displaced because of it, just like Cole once did. And Cole thinks he can only use his powers with Geo's help, like Sora, and Geo doesn't tell him otherwise because he doesn't want to be abandoned and forgotten again, which has been Cole's biggest fear throughout the show, and I love this episode. So I will confess, Cole and Nia are my two favorite ninja. Sora is my favorite new character. Dr. Leroux is my favorite new villain. Am I slightly biased towards this episode? Probably. But it was good. The administration. So we finally got Jay. Jay in his 35 seconds of screen time. I'm not upset because I'm sure he'll have a more major story down the line, but I do empathize with the Jay fans out there. I know that if this was Cole, I would not be pleased. My question off the back of this is, does Jay have amnesia? I know it's what we thought pre-season release, but there was nothing in this exchange confirming whether or not he has memories. Maybe he's just living his best life as a corporate manager, I don't know. So yeah, then the rest of the administration was fine. I liked the connection between form and forms. I found it funny. So yeah, then that's it for the main body of the season. The last 3 episodes comprise the finale, and I have a few different feelings on that. Right away, I'll say that the Mergequakes didn't feel like a threat. It was quite clear that they were going to be resolved, but that didn't bother me. What I took away was that the real threat was Beatrix. The Mergequakes were just her weapon. While, yeah, the stability of the Earth was at stake, it wouldn't have been if not for her vengeful mindset. Beatrix's motivation for all the stuff she did was that she didn't have elemental powers, and she was jealous of her sister who did. And Aaron's kind of in the same place. He would love to have powers, but he doesn't, and that's okay. He uses his other strengths to be a hero. Whereas Beatrix continues acting out of anger. That's what sets them apart and makes you root for Aaron, because it's proof that he's the better person. This is why I sincerely hope that he doesn't get powers, because he doesn't need them. Again, the show's taken something from season 11 and done it infinitely better. The message that powers aren't what make a hero. And Sora, seeing her stand up to her parents and reach her true potential was so satisfying, as was her realization that she's more than what they think of her. The finale itself was... It was a finale. Lloyd almost died, Aaron saved a dog, Kai and Wildfire committed arson. It was just 10 minutes of mindless action, but it was enjoyable. I think it was a fine way to end the season. A colorful, explosion-filled action sequence where the themes are ultimately just be nice to people. Be nice to yourself. Don't be a jerk. Don't tear apart the structure of the universe just because you don't like someone. Dragons Rising is an introduction to this vast world and story, but as a season, it just feels so sweet and genuine. I was so happy at the end of it. And yeah, that's really my point, is on top of all the new characters and world building and writing, at the end of the day, it made me happy. So, Dragons Rising, was it perfect? No. Has Ninjago ever been perfect? No. Do I love it? Absolutely. And as with everything, I know not everyone shares that opinion, and that's totally fine. I recognize that there were some flaws, but hopefully I've kind of justified why I like it. Because, yeah, in case I haven't made it clear, I like it. I like it a lot. It's a promising sign for the future of the show. And yeah, that just about covers everything. Insert super cool and insightful outro here. But no, I'm glad you could make it to the end of this brain dump. I'm excited to see what's next for Dragons Rising. And that's it from me. I will be seeing you all, hopefully, soon. So, yeah, have a great day. See ya!